Hi everybody, my name is Nick Dressler. This is my first video for my website, javelina.com. I'd like to talk a little bit about something I've been working on for 6 or 7 years, and this is the idea of using an Excel spreadsheet, or I think you can use Apple spreadsheets as well, to help with differentiation in class. I've always thought of differentiation as a great idea, something that I wanted to participate in, but something that was a little bit nebulous in terms of being difficult to understand exactly how we are going to do this in class. Of course, I want to meet the students where they are individually, but how does that look when the curriculum is set? And so what I have here is a spreadsheet that I've developed over time, a spreadsheet that I've created. Over here on the left, I have student numbers, and then I've listed the skills outcomes that the class is going for this particular year up here, and you can do this with any class. It doesn't have to be I teach English or ELA, but you could do this in any class. So here I have some reading skills. This is author's intention. This is theme, character inferences, etc. And then here are some writing skills. And what I have here is a system where assignments that I give condition the scores that are in each of these areas. So essentially, I link assignments back to the skills that they demonstrate. I give the kids a particular quantitative grade on their report cards, but then I keep a qualitative grade here. And what this shows is how each individual student is doing in each skill. And what's great about this is a couple things. First of all, on the positive end, a student that's struggling in class, I can always talk specifically and accurately, authentically about skills that he has done really well in. I can always tell his parent or the principal or him. I say him because I teach at an all-boys school, that he is in fact excellent at thesis statements, or he's done a really good job with recognizing the opposing argument this year. And that way I can give authentic feedback to the student in a positive way without just saying, hey, you're really trying hard, or great participation. I can talk specifically about something that he individually does well. For instance, this guy is very good at themes, without necessarily making something up or sounding like I'm lying. Likewise, with areas that the student needs help with, I can point to that, and this will be clear to the student as well. When the parent comes in for parent-teacher conferences, it's very easy for me to tell this student here that the grammar rules that we've talked about in class, he has not applied those to his writing, or he has difficulty with quote selection. As opposed to saying he needs to do better on his writing, or he needs to be a better essay writer, I can specifically talk about the areas that he could do better in, which would help his overall grade as well, which a lot of times, as you know, if you're a secondary school teacher, this is a bottom line. I mean, the parents want great grades so that the parents can get the kids into college and get that college paid for. We say grades don't matter, and maybe they don't in theory, but the system that we have set up, the grades definitely matter, in that a point here, a point there, a grade here, a grade there, determine a lot for these kids in terms of whether they get into a school or how much money they get to that school, whether or not they can afford it. So we have to be sensitive to that as much as we don't want the grades to matter. The other thing that's great about this, though, and this is kind of the topic of the video, is this allows for differentiation in class, right? This allows for it allows for the teacher to challenge a student in a particular area without necessarily making the entire class do that exact same thing. So what I like to do is, as a student masters one of these, so this student, for instance, has mastered thesis statement, what I like to do then is to make sure that when we do anything creative at the end of a unit, like a podcast or a screencast, or if the kids are going to make a product or write a letter to a governor, they are going to use creatively the things that they do well, the skills that they have mastered, or skills that they would be for which they'd be at the next level. Because if they've already recognized and they've already analyzed and evaluated, the next step then would be creativity. Once they can use this thing, they have truly appropriated that skill. And in truly appropriating the skill, they'll be able to use it outside of the classroom. And so this is when they use the skill for an authentic assessment or some kind of a traditional or non-traditional assessment that they would use demonstrate the skill in a way that affected their lives outside of the walls of the classroom. The areas that the students show a declivity, maybe not as excellent in a particular area. These are the ones that I challenge the students in the traditional summative assessments like essays and tests. When I give a test, I like to have a different test for each student so that the test gets progressively harder. So for this guy, the first question in the test might be short and it would involve theme of the book, but by the end, his essay question would be cause and effect. His second easiest question, maybe this is short answer for the opposing viewpoint. And that way, each student really has a test that challenges him or her, as opposed to a general test that everybody gets that is biased toward one student or another. Likewise, on the essays, I can tell this student that one of his rubric items will, of course, be quote selection. This might be double the points for him because he's had a difficult time with this, or maybe I say that should he improve quote selection, that would be something that would go back and improve an earlier grade. The system that I use doesn't matter. You can alter the system as much as you want, and other videos to come will show maybe some other techniques in class that I use with the system, but this is really the basis of it. And everybody can use this and not change too much of what he or she does in class. This is just more information, more statistics that you can use to help make that class more efficient and, again, tailor make it to the kid as opposed to tailor making it to what we think it should be, and having the kids have to fit into that. So let me just show you really quickly how I would go about making one of these. It's pretty simple within Excel spreadsheet. So the first thing you want to do, let's say we'll just do 5 students, we'll do 2 skills and 3 assignments. So this is what our box would look like. Once you figure out the box here, you head up here to format as a table, and you can pick to make it look like whatever you want. If you're really feeling the color blue that day or something, let's just do green. I don't know why. All right, and so this is what our graph looks like. Here, I'm going to put the name of the student. You just type this in. Here we'll do skill 1. Here we will do skill 2. Here we'll do assignment 1. Here we'll do assignment 2. And here we'll have assignment 3. All right, and here we'll have student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4, student 5. Now, the great thing with these table formats on Excel is if I want to add an assignment to the end of this, or maybe you get a new student at the semester, a transfer student, or a student that goes from one section to the other, all you have to do is if I put 6 right here, it will add a whole another line to here, and it will include all of the formulas that you use here. Likewise, if I want assignment 4, I can put it right here, and you will see that this program will automatically fill in assignment 4. So that'll work really well. Now, the first thing that we want to do is link each skill with a particular assignment. So for the first one, let's say that we just want assignment 1 to go with skill 1. So what we want to do here, under skill 1, you hit the first cell, you go up to the top by formulas, and you press equals, and all we want it to be is equals A1. So anything that happens in A1 for this whole row is going to go to this particular skill. So if this guy demonstrates this skill really well on the first assignment, I will put a 5 out of 5 for that, and you will see that his total for that skill is 5 out of 5. This guy does pretty well, this guy also, and then we've got a 3, another 4, and a 2. Those are things I just made up. Now you can see here that these are the same. Okay, now if we want to then later in the semester add another one, we've got A4, okay, here it is, and now we want to change this so that it's A1 plus A4. And now when we press enter, as we add here, you will see that it adds to that particular score in the first one. All right, oh, not a 6, we'll do a 5 there, do a 2, again, just randomly out of 5. Okay, now you can make it so that it tallies this, or what I like to do is a really simple formula where the latest assignment in that skill is you multiply by 5, the penultimate one you multiply by 3, and the third most recent you multiply by 2, and then you divide it into a single number, and that way you give more credence or more stress on what they've done lately, and you can accurately track these. Okay, and so after you've decided which cells you want to go in here, the next thing to do is conditional formatting. So what we want to do is highlight the entire row and conditionally format. Now what you do is new rule, and then I like to get as many icons as possible. So instead of doing a 2-color scale, I go down to icon sets. I like to pick this one. I don't know why, but this is my favorite. And here, what you're doing is you're showing that anyone that is in the 80th percentile of the class or higher is going to have an up arrow. Now you can switch it if your grade scale is different. You might say 90 because that's an A at your school. You might make it even higher. You want only the top kids that have a 97 or higher to have an up arrow. Okay, then you go down to 80, etc. You got it. You can switch that to be whatever you want. Now when I hit OK, I'm going to have the percentiles here. So these kids with the up arrows are in the 97th percentile of their class. Obviously, as you add your entire student roster in there, it'll be more. And this shows what they're good at least in comparison to their other students. The last little bit here that I like to do, and make sure you go down a couple rows, a couple cells lower, what we need here then is some sort of average for this. So equals, and then you just type in, as you start typing in average, this drop box will come down, click on average, and we want equals average of this, and there it is. So once we put in the average here, we can see that the average grade is 6.6. Now, if you ever get to the point where the average grade is very low and you're still getting a lot of up arrows, this is kind of the teacher evaluation here. This will tell you the area that you need to make sure that you move up in, because the average is so low. This would be a suggestion to me if this were, say, a 3 or a 4. This would be a suggestion to me that this skill would be something that needs remediation in my classroom. If the number is average, in that 7 or 8 range, and the scores are here, then you're in pretty good shape. But again, if you get to a particular skill and it shows that that while the kids with the up arrows are certainly doing well in relationship to their peers, the average is still in that 4-3 range, that would be a skill that you could use for mediation as you move forward in class. Okay, so this is the basis of the system that I use. I'll try to keep these up to date, starting this new website. Please leave any questions or comments below, and please visit javelina.com for more teaching resources, structures, and reviews of online applications. Thank you.